Today we're going to talk about why Texas is not a blue blood and one of the underrated reasons to love what OU defensive coordinator Alex Grinch is doing at Oklahoma right now. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, we're going to talk about why Texas is not a blue blood and also why you got to love what Alex Grinch is doing. Now, on the sports animal earlier today, the guys got me going by asking who were the 8 blue bloods in college football. And I got through 7 because there are 7. You can throw out there that Oklahoma hasn't played a national title game since 2008. But you also have to remember Oklahoma's played in 3 college football playoffs. And we have this annual tradition in the Big 12 where the University of Texas hands Oklahoma the Big 12 championship. All right? The Sugar Bowl that Texas just won, Oklahoma's won 2 of those in the last 5 years. We can keep going about this, and I'm sure that there are going to be Texas fans in the comments who want to fight me, and you're welcome to. Cool. It's a college football channel with an OU-centric view. I appreciate your rebuttals on this. One of the things I don't think you're going to be able to rebut, though, is that Alex Grinch has actually been really, really cool in all the ways that I know that OU fans think he's cool, in particular because of this quote that I'm going to read for you now. We're 129th out of 129 teams versus the past. Believe me, if I could get it tattooed on every single one of them, I would. Because that's something that if we don't get corrected, we're going to have major, major issues. We've seen signs of that disease creep into our practices, and I coach in the secondary as well, so I'm not pointing fingers. That is on me, But that's something that unfortunately is still ingrained in these guys, and we have to battle to get it out. One play is too many. Now, I understand the fire and brimstone of that quote is why everybody's like, that's the dude that I want coaching secondary. That's the dude that I want calling the defense. I don't want him sugarcoating any of this. I want him riding these guys and stressing them and shocking them into greatness. But what I love about that is he said we're not good. We're 129th out of 129 teams. He's taken ownership of that. He didn't look at 2018 and said, I wasn't here for that. It's an abomination. We don't speak of it. He said, no, we. And since it's we now, I, meaning Alex Grinch, go for excellence. I don't do this 129th crap. That's not who it is. That's not what I do. I'm a safeties coach. I'm a secondary coach. That ain't who we're going to be. All right? We're going to change our attitude. We're going to be accountable. We're going to go after people. He's even said, look, we press corners all spring. Are we going to press corners all year? No, but that's not the point. The point was to make it stressful for his corners. The point was to make them uncomfortable. And in making somebody uncomfortable, you get to see what they're made of. I get this. You got 15 practices to see what you have. And that's what Alex Grinch has used it to do. Now, he's not expected to see a whole lot and get a whole lot of evaluation out of the spring game, and I know that kind of sucks, but I really do believe in what he's doing, as much as I know folks think that I'm poo-pooing on Alex Grinch, because telling me effort, everybody's got effort. I mean, I put effort into the channel. I still have massive feedback on some of the videos, and I'm really working hard to do that. But this one's a lot better because I went and corrected it. You know what I mean? And that's what we're striving for. We're striving for excellence. We're trying to be better at everything that we're doing. And I think that's what Alex Grinch wants out of his defense, and I support the way that he's doing this by saying, he's putting himself squarely in there, not setting himself apart. He's building consensus. He's understanding what they do and how they do it. Bill Bedenbaugh did the same thing offensive line. Go listen to that Bronson Irwin interview, and you can see how that happened. You got to do it every single day. You got to do it the right way every single day. And the kids have to trust you and believe you're going to ride with them even when they make a mistake. All right, now let's get into my conversation with sports animal host Patrick Masick, Austin Chadwick, and even Jerry Ostrowski popped in for a second. Take a listen.
Joining us, RJ Young. OUinsider.com. Find him on YouTube at RJ_Young as well. And we've been talking about this. OU has done as good a job as anyone at making their spring game an event and doing a lot of great things with it. Lee Bites aside.
Bryce,
yes, I'm sorry.
Bryce.
I screwed that up even. But one of the things they've done is they've really made it a recruiting hotbed for them. They've really worked. They've done well. They've gotten a lot of early commitments out of it. They got a lot of good players out of it. So the big question, as soon as we all saw this, and you talked about this in your latest video, how does this change affect recruits being able to come in?
Well, I mean, for Lincoln, he's trying to put the spin on it that instead of having to wait a day, they're going to get off the plane, they're going to go straight to the game, and they're going to see 50,000+ people in the stands and see what OU football is all about. For me, I already know that Brian Breezy has canceled his trip to Norman, right? It was always felt like a token visit, but it's still the #1 recruit in the country, and he plays defensive tackle, which is a position of need for Oklahoma, and to have him on campus would have been a big deal. And we're going to see a lot of fallout, I think, and figuring out what the head count is, because anybody that's ever booked a flight and everybody that's ever tried to travel over the weekend knows that this not only is going to hem up fans, it's going to hem up a few recruits, and there's still no telling about exactly who that is going to affect, except for the kids that are taking officials. He knows that they're going to be here. He knows what time they're going to be here because they booked the flights. So outside of that, you're going to look at the unofficial list, and you're going to see who was able to make their schedule meet up with a 7:30 p.m. kickoff on Friday when they had planned for a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday.
Let me ask you this, RJ. Since the NCAA got a little more flexible with the early signing day, they had to where you literally have seniors to be. They're still juniors in high school. They're able now to make their official visits. How many does OU have coming? And have you guys just seen a massive influx in more and more recruits taking that official visit in the springtime before their senior year?
An accurate head count is around a dozen, right? Give or take on officials. But again, this is the weekend that Lincoln Riley has circled on the calendar for the last 2 years about, hey, this is the one that needs to take everybody into account. Even more so than during the season, even more so than the Champ U barbecue that comes in July and whatnot, and you get a few out of that. But he has decided to build his recruiting calendar around this event, with the NCAA making a change for rising seniors to be able to take an official during the spring. I think that was a really good rule. I also think that OU is ahead of the curve in paving the way in how this is treated. Now, you've seen a lot of folks catch up, but he continues to keep trying to make this thing bigger and bigger. And going from, say, Trace Atkins to Lee Bryce is also indicative of that. But also, we have a night game, and he was not afraid to pull the trigger on having a night game the day before he said he was going to have his spring game. I also think that's going to play into it quite a bit, because I've always thought this game should be played under the lights because there's no reason not to. And if you can give the atmosphere of a 7 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday night like you would in the fall, which is prime time for us, why not do it during the spring? I think he had an option. He saw an opening where everybody else might have saw a setback, and he made it work for him. And that's been basically his MO as a head coach. No, I'm going to make these rules work for me, and I'm going to make even the weather work for me. This gives me an opportunity to make a good excuse to say to people, we're going to have our game 7:30 on Friday night. But again, official visits are the thing because they only get 5. Getting them to take one during the spring is a gamble for some folks, because you would much rather have 84,000 people show than say 50,000. But it worked well last year, and all indications are it's going to work really well this weekend too.
Over under on how many eyeball tweets we get from Lincoln over the weekend?
I've said 8, but you had 7 last year. I think 8 is also kind of high, honestly. But that's to take into account both the 2020 and 21 recruiting classes. So we'll see them start to roll in, I think, around Friday like we did last year, and they'll be rolling throughout the weekend. And we'll probably have some that are unaccounted for some time, because some kids just want to hold their announcements until they want to hold their announcements. But squarely putting it at the 8 mark, I think, on the over-under, yeah, I'd take it. I wouldn't go over that, but I'm not going to go under, say, 5. Let's put the floor at 5.
Okay. So when you kind of see this overall throughout the spring and how it's developed, you got the injury to Caleb Kelly he's going to have to deal with and go into the ninth. But give me a guy or two in the linebacking core. You've always liked Perkins. Is there a guy or two that's really having a good spring? Maybe a guy off the grid a little bit, maybe a younger guy that's getting a shot with Grinch that you and Brandon have kind of seen and said, gosh, this guy has really kind of climbed up the depth chart or really getting some play with the first team.
Look, homie, I'm going to give you 2 because that's how deep it's been over there. DaShaun White is moving. Like if we're doing a stock up, stock down thing, his stock's through the roof, all right? Right now, all you hear is he's an instinctual linebacker. New linebackers coach Brian Odom likes him. And Alex Grinch gave a quote that basically told me it's DaShaun White's job to lose, all right? Wow. In the way that he was talking about how he picked up the defense. And the quote was to the effect of, there are certain guys that you circle from an athletic standpoint that you recruit each and every year. Give us 10 of them, and he's one. And this is a guy who is not long on giving compliments. My analogy is he would be the head coach for a little league, and his kid would be the best player, the pitcher, and the 3-hole hitter, but he'd go 4 for 5 and have a strikeout, and then he would throw a no-no and have 4 walks, and all his dad would talk about is how, you took the last one looking, and you walk 4 batters. I mean, that's the kind of coach Alex Grinch seems to be. But he likes some DaShaun White, and that's good for DaShaun White if nothing else. And then Bryan Mead out of Rejoice Christian in Owasso, preferred walk-on candidate, right? That guy is apparently turning everybody's eye. And you'll remember last year he came in before Caleb Kelly did in the Iowa State game. So there's something to like there. What I'm really interested in, though, is what does this mean for Levi Draper? This is a 5-star linebacker. This is a guy that I was expecting to be next to Kenneth Murray Jr. this year.
He's going to be 11th. He's going to be at 11th at Harvard after he graduates.
And that could be in play because he's got all the tools. And I mean, if you would have asked me on this defense who I expected to play on Sundays 2 years ago, I would have told you Levi Draper would be one of those guys. He's got that kind of athleticism. But hearing Bryan Mead and DaShaun White fighting for that will spot, and also the fact that in this defense, it seems that the Mike and the Will are interchangeable, but we all know that a Mike is a captain, is a guy that you expect to call the defense. I think that's still going to be K9's job. But you got bodies there that they like, and you can't necessarily say that in the secondary all the time.
RJ on OUinsider.com. You can find him on Twitter, YouTube as well. How about this? We've debated this since I've been doing radio for 11 years now. This is always a topic we discuss. Who are the blue bloods of college football?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Okay. Well, somebody has actually, tableau.com, which is the authority on college football, has put together a point value. And they have come up with the 8 blue bloods of college football.
They are testing DNA. That's what they're doing right
now. Do you want to take a guess at who the 8 schools are?
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay.
Notre Dame, USC, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Michigan. Give me a second.
Bama.
Texas not in there. Bama's in there. So we got 2 more. Not them. No.
Ohio State would probably
be that'd be 7. Who's number 8?
Not Penn State.
No, it can't be.
Oh, it can be, but it's not.
Oh, come on. Come on, Jerry.
You're missing one. Who is it?
Based on their point value. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, Alabama, Oklahoma, USC, Texas, Nebraska.
Texas?
Wow.
Why would Texas be a blue blood?
Based on their point value.
You have guaranteed
Texas is not a blue blood.
You might as well argue boxers or briefs right now because
you have guaranteed
football voodoo is in somebody's basement somewhere.
I love the fact that
probably 2 12-year-old kids.
It has triggered RJ to where we're going to get great videos.
How do you put Texas into a blue blood conversation? What are we talking about here?
I just tweeted it at you.
Good God, man.
Here's their criteria. AP top 25 finishes, NFL draft, All-Americans, all-time wins, bowl games,
national champions,
Heisman Trophy winners, and national champions.
Heisman Trophy winners and national champions? Come on, man.
Texas finished 12th, by the way, in Heisman Trophy winner point value and 12th in national championship.
Here's the problem that you have, though. There are only 7. There aren't 8. There are 7 blue bloods.
So you're okay with the other 7 besides
I'm interested.
Texas.
I'm just interested that eventually the sleeping giant in Lincoln, Nebraska is going to be awoken.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited. I want them to be good. I so want even them being in the Big Ten. I always like it when Nebraska is good, right? I mean,
you want them to be good, so that 21 and 22 matchup with OU is going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, that's why wouldn't anybody who's not a college football fan.
We didn't talk about this the other day. OU announces a future series with Alabama, which by the time that rolls around will just be a conference game.
Yeah, but also, hey, just lay that out though. You got Clemson, Temple, you got Tennessee, you got Alabama, you got LSU. That's a really good look and you go back to West Point here next year. I mean, it's a really cool schedule to go along with Nebraska, of course. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, they've done a good job. One other thing too, we talked about this this came out yesterday. It was announced that the Big 12 has struck a deal with ESPN.
Did you get the caveat? Every team but Oklahoma and Texas is going to have a game on ESPN Plus.
Well, OU will definitely be a road game. They'll be the road team. So they'll have games on there at some point, I bet.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, I mean, with the tier rights, and also I thought this was going to get us out of the pay-per-view game, but bro, I thought.
Here's the thing. This is what I said, because what this does, at the very least, it definitely sets up the fact that when the Big 12 rights are up, they are re-upping with ESPN, and they might go to exclusive. It might be an exclusive with ESPN.
I think that it might be, but also the players that are going to come in on this with the streaming services, Amazon being the name brand for me, and of course YouTube TV. I think that it's going to be a bidding war if they're smart, because just tying up with ESPN at this point, I get the branding there, but if Google wants to back up a truck, or Bezos wants to back up a truck, hey. Prime TV is fine. Most of us have Prime memberships anyway. We paying the tax now in Oklahoma. I think that that's going to be a really interesting conversation to have in a couple of years. And I'm huge on streaming. I mean, for spring game, you're going to have a streaming service to watch it, the Oklahoma spring game, because they moved it. And that's not necessarily the big deal that it might have been 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. So, I mean, I think you're right, because this is kind of a precursor to what it could be, and they're getting an audition now with ESPN Plus and vice versa. But I really do believe that places like, I mean, why would YouTube TV spend all this money on advertising the Super Bowl if they don't want to buy in? You know, I can rewatch Thunder games on YouTube TV without using DVR. You know, all these things are going to come into play for the young 30-year-olds like myself and the Gen Zs who are turning 22, 23 years old. I mean, Kyler Murray said it best. I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of YouTube. And how many people navigate that ESPN Plus on their ESPN app? I do. But I'm in the minority. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out.
I'm glad he said young, because I guess I'm an old 30-year-old.
You are.
Because yesterday, while at the grocery store with the toddler, I got frustrated in the self-scan line and just went to the regular line. So,
you got to be kidding me.
I got frustrated.
You are.
It kept telling me to take it out and rescan.
It's like you're an old curmudgeon.
That's what I got frustrated with the U-scan line.
I'm setting up all streaming.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
Seriously, I've got, because the cool thing is with Dish Network, I can get the Dish Anywhere app through the streaming stuff, and I've got, I mean, to me, it's, if you don't embrace streaming, you're going to be years behind, because that's where it's all going.
See, this is why Jerry and I can have a podcast together.
Yeah.
We'll see everybody. Oh, by the way, Fight Me Sunday. Heard the show over the weekend. It was good, man.
Man, you and Corey got developing a great chemistry.
It's good.
Show.
It's
good show.
I appreciate
Excellent.
that,
Thanks,
fellas.
man.
All right, fellas. I'll talk to you later.